Today, the wisest man who ever lived finally got wise. But you can be wise. And he was wise. He was wise his whole life. And not spiritually wise. It's possible to be worldly wise and not spiritually wise. And here is the spiritual wisdom. Chapter 12, verse 1 says, "Remember your Creator in the days of your youth." But why? Look at this. He says this. "Before the evil days come and the years draw near, to which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened in the clouds, and they return to rain." And then he describes something in this poem here. He says, "In the day when the keepers of the house tremble." The keepers of the house refer to your arms and hands. You know, when you get older, you're trembling. "And the strong men are bent, the knees and the legs, you're kind of bent down. And the grinders cease because they are few." Talking about your teeth. You run out of teeth, you don't chew very much. "And those who look through the windows are dim when your eyes become dim. And the doors on the street are shut when the sound of the grinding is low." He says you don't hear very well. "And the one rises at the sound of a bird." If you get older, what happens? When the bird sings, it wakes you up. "And all the daughters of song are brought low." You care less about music, and they are afraid of what is high, and terrors in the way. When you get old, you get fearful. You're like, I could fall, and that's a reality. You get fearful of life. "And the almond tree blossoms, your hair turns white, and the grasshopper drags itself along, you become weak, and desires fail because man is going to his eternal home." He says, desires fail, your passions, you're passionless. He describes old age in a poem here beautifully. He says, "Remember your Creator while you're young, because these days are coming." But finally, he posits God in eternity. He says, going to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets. Finally, he gets it, and it changes everything. When you posit eternity into this life, everything you do today makes a difference. Your good deeds matter because God's writing them down. Even a cup of cold water given in the name of Jesus will be remembered. And your evil deeds written down. And you're like, I don't want that to go into a book somewhere, right? I don't want that thing. I'm not going to do that. When you posit God in eternity, everything changes in your day. Verse 13 and 14 are the end of the book. And in 2 verses, he literally negates the entire book. The wisdom that were true lies in the book, he negates the whole thing. And this is what you need to know and remember. He says, "The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments." Fear God, keep his commandments. 5 words, that's the entire story. Now, if you fear God, you will keep his commandments. But having respect and reverence and awe for God is the start of wisdom and its meaning in life. When you have no fear of God, you have no reason to live. He says, this is the whole duty of man, for God will bring, and this is it, this is why eternity matters, God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. Period. End of the book. Evil. He says, look, good matters. Evil matters. Everything I said about, do whatever you're going to do, that was human wisdom, under the sun wisdom. But when you posit God, everything changes. What does this book tell us to do? Every day, when you get up, pray, think about God, get into his word, and fear him and keep his commandments, because that makes life rich.